agenda for the demo today is that we'll go through all the features and how you should be using Scalenut as a tool for short form, long form, as well as SEO research. So these are three aspects which Mayank just mentioned. We also have a managed marketplace, and we'll not talk about it. We'll just keep it specific to AI content generation and SEO intelligence bit. And what we'll do is I'll run through all the features as Jermaine asked. Let what should be the right process of creating the long form content specifically. I'm assuming it's for long form because that's where you see a lot of options and a lot of features. And somebody also mentioned what are the unique aspects of Scalenut, which you might not find elsewhere. So I'll try to cover those, and we'll take some time, and then we'll open up for questions. And if required, we can jump back to the screen and play around. That's the idea. Right. So I'll start with short form here. That's how the Scalenut dashboard looks. Anything to do with short form, you come either here or there's another option, and I'll talk about it later. But yeah, right now in AI Copywriter, what we do is we've segregated all the different use cases in terms of there's e-commerce, there's Q&A, there's copywriting, marketing, email. And what I'll do is I'll try to cover a few, right? And just see how they can be used. So let's say if we go into e-commerce, we've got product descriptions, a lot of stuff around reviews. You can create reviews as well as respond to reviews. There's something specific called as e-commerce product descriptions. We added recently Google My business descriptions also. Let's just get into one of these, right? Product descriptions, and try to create. So yeah, I was looking into this. Let's do this. Let's see. Let's say it's an organic, chemical-free soap, both for men and women. Yeah, right. So maybe just add this and generate. Let's see how this goes. Right. So yeah, we've got good amount of.
Wow.
So tired of all the chemicals that are in regular soaps. Say goodbye to that. Soaps offers chemical free. It's giving significance to chemical free organic soaps. The beauty here is that these outputs are really related to how good the descriptions are. If you are able to mention the USPs of the product in the description in a very crisp way, it generates really relevant descriptions, and there are a lot of those, right? So the Soapsy brand has exceptional quality, gives you assurance of privacy. I think this is not relevant, but yeah, chemically free and all those things. Talks about moisturization, and it picks up the context really well, right? So that's that. Let's go back to other use cases. Let's try a few more, right? Let's do some Q&A, right? Again, so this is one of the most used. We get a lot of usage on answer a question and core answers. Let's do something related to marketing. What is the best way to get traffic on marketing landing pages? Mayank, this one is for you.
Thank you.
Mayank takes care of all the marketing at Scalenut.
So, we are absolutely trying to figure out this. So let's see what Scalenut gives in terms of ideas.
Right. Okay.
I'm intently watching, Saurav. It better be good.
Yeah. This one directly says, "Hey, don't do anything. Just spend on ads."
Nice.
Right. You can, but these are authentic answers. These are so the way we've trained the engines are, that some human is writing these, right? So you can also try Facebook ads as well. So talks about ads, and then things about AdWords again. This one's more or less about ads. Again, this one's talking about ads. Let's see if you can find something else.
Yeah.
So both of them talked about paid marketing, right? And this one talks about email list, social media presence.
Nice.
One of the best ways to use this is use multiple of these, right? And just combine it into, one good answer. And you can keep on generating as many, and the variety is really good. That's what we have seen. And so this one starts talking about some tools, Twitter, and SEO tools. So finally we get something around SEO tools as well. So gives a good variety. It talks about PPC, SEO, it talks about other things, and that's how you formulate it. One very recent addition. In fact, we just amended the UI, yesterday, and I really want everyone to take note of this. We've added these, thumbs up and thumbs down, and these are very easy to use indicators if you like something or you dislike it. Let's say I don't like particularly this one. This one is a small one and doesn't talk much, so I'll just click on this. Now, how this helps us is that it helps us further train our engine accordingly, right? We get to know that, okay, this is the content which you think is just not related to the question and what you're asking for, and we can actually filter out these. And the way AI works is that we keep on training them, training the models, and they'll eventually get to the most optimum outputs. If you like something, by the way, like for example, I like this one, right? So I'll just like it. What it does is additionally it just goes and it will just add to your favorites history also. So this one is something which got saved because you liked it. Otherwise, every output which is generated here in AI Copywriter goes in history as well, right? Let's try, maybe a couple of more examples before we jump to SEO Assistant. Email is a nice one. So let's say I want to write an email. Let's do with the same brand. This is the Soapsy brand, organic, chemical-free soaps for both men and women, right? Launch of new product line. Let's get it out from the CEO directly. Now what it does is this is specifically for sales email. So the context is the output context is a bit salesy, right? And what it does is it tries to talk about specific agendas which you have mentioned in the input. We're currently in the process of expanding our range, and gives you great ideas to write an email. And I know email in particular is just a pain, right? Getting good variety of emails and trying A/B testing, around those emails. So yeah, so that's the email tool, right? You can easily navigate around all the use cases from here. This one I particularly like this view, and that's that. I'll take a quick pause and see if anybody wants to talk about or has any questions around AI Copywriter, or I'll just Mayank, Gaurav, can you help me with the questions if there are any? Or what we can do is we'll just move to the SEO Assistant bit.
Yeah, no, we are answering the some of the questions that are coming.
Okay, thank you.
But yeah, we have specific things which would like to sort of cover. People are suggesting as you walk through SEO Assistant. But for Quora answers, one suggestion is how about using the tonalities and sentiment, right? So that the answers become a little better in terms of
yeah.
Perfect.
So one thing which is happening in the background is we're working on tonality. You want to get it right. I know a lot of other tools do tonality and it's not really getting the right outputs, and we want to do it the right way. In the background, we have been doing a lot of experiments. We'll be launching tonality when we're completely sure of it. So yeah, we get a lot of questions around tonality. So that's the reason I thought I'll just take that up. Okay, so this is actually my favorite child of the product. This is my favorite child, SEO Assistant. The idea here is that we just don't want to give, plain vanilla long form editor. We want to make sense of the long form content which people are creating on our tool. And to answer one of the questions which somebody asked, that what are the unique features which Scalenut has as opposed to other competitors. This is one aspect where we really feel that we're going the right way, which is we want to club this long form AI writing with the SEO intelligence piece, married both to get the best content out there. What we really encourage here is that you start writing using a keyword, right? Figure out what needs to be exactly written for that SEO, that SEO piece, and move ahead from there. The starting point, and this is one common mistake which everybody, not everybody, but most of the people I see do is, what do I enter here? What do I enter in this text box to start the whole process? A lot of people are writing down titles of the report or domains of their website, things like that. But this text box is primarily, reserved for the search key term for which you want to optimize your article. This is not the title of the article. This is the search key phrase which you want, which people would be searching on search engines like Google, and then you would want to rank on for that search. So, for example, I was thinking about what to talk about today, and one of the hot topics, at least internally in Scalenut, is been fitness and fasting. Although I am not aligned to that propaganda too much, but yeah, and that fitness brought in the subject of fasting. So I thought let's cover something around that. And what I did was I just quickly went into this SEMrush tool, which is another tool outside of Scalenut, and I searched very quickly for fasting, right? And I got these top 10, if I just do a phrase match, and I'll not go into detail of this tool, but I'll just quickly tell you the process of how I'll choose a keyword to start with. I would just look at volume. Okay, all of these are good. I would also look at the keyword difficulty. I'll not go directly for a very high keyword difficulty score, keyword. So probably look at the low ones, so 68. So water fasting, benefits of fasting, fasting for blood work, right? These are the ones with low keyword difficulties. And that's the process I follow. Everybody has their own process. And then out of these three, I'll just think about what topic should I start with. So not really related, fasting for blood work, very specific, water fasting, benefits of fasting, very broad. I'll probably cover this, right? So this key phrase is what I would go and type in here, benefits of fasting. I'll choose a region. Very recently, what we did was, earlier we were just showing countries, and now we have gone to, smaller regions as well. Result in California would be different to what would there be in Texas. But yeah, right now we'll just create a report for United States in general, but you can choose, sub-demographies as well. Let's create a report. Let's create a report for benefits of fasting, and let's try to understand the process, what really is the report, the SEO report, how to use editor, what are the different tools, right? Now, what's happening in the background at this point of time is, when I say, okay, Scalenut, I want to write about benefits of fasting, Scalenut tries to scrape the top ranking articles from Google, so we use Google as a standard search engine. We look at the top 30 ranked articles. We try to analyze them. We also try to analyze what's being written for that topic on Quora, on Reddit. What are questions which people are asking in general on Google? And we try to make sense of it. What we understand from all of it is that Google has sort of a knowledge graph where it tries to understand what are the most relevant terms for this topic, benefits of fasting, right? And it will try to optimize its search ranking for the content pieces which has maximum occurrences of those related terms. And I'll talk more in detail. Let this report create. I'll wait for this, and then go ahead.
Yeah, I think
typically.
Yeah, sorry. While this was, this is getting created, I thought maybe you can, for a lot of folks who have just joined, maybe run a small contest. Given we have a lot of folks, and then we jump into report, because this is going to be much serious affair as we get into, and very important for everybody to look into. The report. This is the heart of the product. But okay, the first contest is So we have been releasing a lot of features of late, right? So we would love to know, like, what is the latest feature which we have launched, and whoever gets it right will credit $100 SaaS credits in their wallet tonight. So whoever knows that, type in the chat box, and we will see who gets it right, and then the credits will be added. So we'll repeat in some time, but yes, I thought like we would take that up while the serious stuff is going to get happening.
Cool. Shall I resume? Let the people write the comments and
right. Let's go on.
Okay, so this is the report, and if you look at the SEO assistant tool, primarily these are the two main heads, right? Report and the editor. We'll talk about editor, in some time. Let's just dig deep into what report is and how do you make sense of all this data. It's a lot of data, right? Right. So first of all, let's get into competition, right? And understand what's the starting point, what we are doing. Let's get here, people. So as I mentioned, our tool scrapes the top 30 articles, understands the word count, the readability. It also talks about this grade, which I'll talk about in a while, and looks at other things. What are the images and headings? Now, this is the count of edge tags and the images, and gives you a very nice, clean view. Let's say you want to look at this grade A article and you want to just quickly check, okay, what it is. You get it out here, very quick reading. You don't have to open multiple tabs. You can very easily research what other people are writing for benefits of fasting. Why this is important is you need to understand what Google thinks is important for benefits of fasting. If somebody searches for benefits of fasting, this is the number one article. What is it about, and what people are writing about that Google thinks that it's the most important and is ranking it at the top position. So that's the competition table. Now, out of all these content pieces, what we do is we do this NLP analysis. NLP is natural language processing. And what that really means is we try to figure out the most important keywords and key phrases out of all these articles and apply our own proprietary algorithm to assign importance to all these terms and figure out the top terms, right? Which is this NLP terms. Now, what are these? These are terms which Scalenut feels should be included, all of them, in your content piece. Eventually, the one which goes out, which gets published, right? It assigns relative importance to all these terms. Obviously, fasting is going to be the most important. It's just calling it out. Calories, health benefits, weight loss. While there are lots of benefits of fasting, it thinks weight loss has number 10 out of 10. So importance 10, right? What it also does is it tells you what's the frequency of usage, how many times a keyword is being used on an average across the article. So it gives you a good range, between 16 to even 88 times. There are articles which are using this term fasting for 88 times. And additionally, what we do is we scrape into the headings as well, and we tell what are the key terms, these NLP terms, which you should be using in your headings, right? So let's look at all these terms before we go ahead. And you will see all of them are very relevant, right? Fasting, calories, health benefits. And these are not your keywords you get from a keyword ranking tool. Don't mistake it for those keywords you will find in your Google ads or SEMrush or something like that. There are plenty of tools for keywords, but these are not search terms. So a lot of people would come back and ask, what's the difference between a search keyword, which you find on keyword tools like SEMrush, Moz, there are plenty of those. The primary difference is that those are related search terms which people are using to search on Google, right, or any other searches. These are the terms which you should use in a content piece so that Google feels your content is very much related to benefits of fasting. So intermittent fasting, and then the list goes on. We limit this list to the top most relevant at max 70 terms, right, and assign them the relative importance. You can sort them by importance or heading presence here, but I'll talk about this when we're in editor, because that's where it gets really interesting. Now, what else do we have here? In the report section, we've got top page statistics. This is very important. I use this as my first point of reference. I look at, okay, C grade, T, D, so I would want to create something with an A or B score, right? But it just reaffirms that better the grade, higher the possibility of, ranking. Okay, talks about, about 10 to 12 crisp headings with an average word count of 1800 words. That's what I should write about. Tells me, okay, it should have some images and readability. Look at this, how consistent, decent readability, because you have people, of all ages and of all educational backgrounds reading this. So yeah, so high school students. So this is an overview. We talked about NLP terms. We talked about competition. These are your LSI keywords. So these are the LSI keywords from Google, but it also gives you a good flavor of what people are searching for and what people are looking for in this particular geography. So let's say I'm sitting in India. I just get it in one glance. I don't have to use any sort of proxy to see these LSI keywords. I just get it here, right? I don't have to. Till now, I haven't opened any other tab to do my research, right? It's just everything is here inside the Scalenut report. Now, questions. Questions are very important. This is the way we look at the search engine, right? People have questions, search engine has answers. So that's the way the whole search industry works, right? And that's the reason we call out questions separately. What we do is we scrape Quora, Reddit, and additionally look at frequently asked questions from Google. And on top of it, we also give some of our AI suggestions on what could possibly be good questions for fasting and all those things, right? So benefits of fasting. Let's look at some of them. How can I make it easier to fast for longer periods of time, right? Benefits of fasting. Okay, this is related. Is there any risk involved in fasting? This is a very good question, right? And then we've got Reddit, we've got Quora and all those, right? Quora, we were just able to pick one question. Usually it has many more. Usually it would have many more questions. What else? Citations, again, very important. It gives you an idea. Citations are the links, outgoing links. It's different from backlinks. Citations is outgoing links. And it essentially means these are the links which are being used in the top ranking articles. So, so if you look at this very quick glance, this shows that these NCBI links are really important. So almost 100 of these have been used in the top ranking articles. The good thing is we already give you a clubbed view. We don't give you a long list, So it will just tell that NCBI has 65 citations, and then you can quickly glance through like all these different URLs. So Healthline, I think this was the ranked one. Yeah, you can check here. The source rank is 1. This is the source. This is the ranked number 1 article, and these are the different citations. So what it tells is that Google considers, now this is important, Google considers that articles which are citing these links, NCBI links, are really credible. These are credible links, right? So Google would consider that, and that would ensure so what you can assume out of this is that, okay, if I also put some of these citations, Google will start considering me credible as well, right? And then you have got a few more. Generally, you will find these Instagram and Facebook URLs as well. But the good thing is that you get very relevant Instagram handles out of it, where you can get good content, right? So for example, this one is the BBC handle of Instagram, which is being referred. Okay, it's being referred by BBC only, but then you'll find others as well, right? There are some posts and all those things. And then finally, the most important thing and something which should be taken very seriously when creating a long form content. And this is where the process comes in play, right? So I think few people, before the demo started, asked about what should be the process of creating content on Scalenut, right? And this is the answer, right? what it tells you is it gives you a very crisp view. Outline section gives you a very crisp view. What does it say? Detailed headings view of top 30 competitors. It will not talk about what the subsections are, what paragraphs are there, but it just gives you a very quick glancey view on how people are structuring their content, right? So let's dig deep into it. I'll dig deep with you. So this was rank 1 article. What is it talking about? It directly talks about benefits. It's mentioning 8 health benefits, right? Right, good. This one is bogus, BBC article. Just because it's BBC, probably, you know, they get a good domain authority and would be there. But that's okay. Content only is not, and again, this is a question which a lot of people have, that, hey, I've written a grade A article. Why am I not ranking? The answer is that content is not the only criteria for ranking, but it's an important criteria. There's domain authority, there's technical SEO, there are backlinks, there's citations, a lot of things, right? Nobody knows what the actual algorithm is, but what everybody knows is that content is one of the most important things, what the actual content is. And that's what our focus is, that's purely in our control. There are other tools to solve other problems. We are solving content. We are solving content for your ranking. But yeah, let's go back. Let's look into what other people are writing. So this one is interesting. This one's talking about types of fasting, risks, and then jumps on to benefits. So, you know, it structures it well. Like, it gives a good introduction on, probably there would be an introduction paragraph and things like that. There's a lot of intermittent fasting. I can see it here. I can see it here. And this would probably be covered in types of fasting as well. So I think this one is important. Now, what you see on your right side is, before I scrolled further down, and I consciously didn't talk about content brief, because this is where it starts coming into play in the outline section. So on the right side, what you see is content brief. And what you can do is you can use all this information, not just outlines, but all the tables above this section to create a very quick brief. Let's do it, right? So what I can make till now, and I have not even gone down to 1/3 of the list, is that people are probably talking about, you know, I just click it here and boom, it gets added in my content brief, right? Types of fasting, they're talking about risks, and then finally they probably would talk about health benefits. So I'll probably include this. What are the benefits? Let me just hover down and see what benefits in general are people talking about. So people are talking about anti-inflammatory, it can help you lose weight. What else? Supports blood sugar management. What else? It may support brain function. Nice. It improves your immune system, right? And that's nice. So how many have we got? And what you can do is, you know, side by side, rearrange these. For example, all of these are H2s, so I can very quickly create all of these as H2s. So, you know, the formatting is nice. And yeah, I don't know. I'm not sure if this is a good point. I'll probably include it at the end. What else? See, intermittent fasting is coming here as well. And I'm down to just intermittent fast. A lot of people are talking about intermittent fasting. So what I'll do is I'll probably, you know, just add a note here that specifically talk about intermittent fasting. Cool. Click outside, it just gets saved, right? And what else? So what are the risks? So we started with types, risks, health benefits, right? Anything else we want to cover? So the first article had 8 benefits. We can just quickly go and check. Hormone. Oh, it could delay aging. That started, right? And what else? Right. So what you do is you just create a rough headings view for your content brief from here. What I can do is I can just quickly go and give me a second, guys. So I can remove this, make it nice, clean. So sorry guys, I'm a little paranoid about formatting. So, and it helps, when you start creating content. Right. Cool. So what we have done here is we've just given it a very brief outline. Usually you could add more headings here, and you can correlate it with this one. We've got top 10 articles using about 12 headings. So you can correlate it, and you would already know that, okay, this is the sort of structure I should form for my article. I'll not go in detail here, but for headings, this is very important. The other way is, okay, you can use your questions from here. Okay, let's add some questions here. Again, these go and get added in your content brief. But I like to use, one of the other options. I'll get there as well. This one is a good question as well.
Guys, using questions is very important. Like, it helps you to sort of sometimes get featured snippets, or sometimes people also ask on Google. So whenever you're writing a blog, don't forget to add questions there. It really helps.
Yeah. Then finally, some themes help in writing some additional sections. It has usually helped me. So for example, I would probably have these things, right? And maybe expand on these, and maybe I'll delete them later. I don't know, but just a quick glance. And if I talk about these specifically, I might just get a snippet, a featured snippet, or Google would consider me getting up in the ranking. Just I'll add these, and then finally add a few citations there. Let's go to citations. The idea is that, okay, you go through these, you can quickly open them in the new tab, but just add a few. And now you have a full-fledged content brief ready. Now this is the time where you actually switch into the editor. But I'll take a pause here, and maybe Mayank, Gaurav, could you talk about if there are any questions, or I'll move to editor directly if there's anything specific which we can cover here at this stage, or we'll just move to the editor and get to the actual content creation. That's the fun part.
Yeah, I think no specific questions about report or content brief. I think let's move to editor and
So this one is the heavy brain work which you do, right? And then now comes the fun part where I think of it as the game, right? I see a lot of tools here, and the idea is that you create your own process, but I'll talk about what process I usually follow, right? There are a few things which we can do at this stage. Let me just, for the people who are new to Scalenut, just very quickly talk about the editor, like what are the different options and what all you can do. We'll go in detail of almost all the options, right? I'll try to cover as many as possible, provided this time. But let's look into how this screen is structured. This is the screen where you create your content. This is where you'll have all the operations. What you saw on the previous screen, if you toggle to reports, has been very concisely been adjusted in this right section. What this section does is it talks about your NLP terms, competition, and questions, right? This is the gist of the most important part of the report, and it sits here so that you can refer to all the research we have already done for you while you're creating content, right? And I'll go through importance of all these three tabs in detail later on. But for now, I'll move ahead. This is the standard text operations bar. I call it the text formatters. But important to note, it would almost have all the features. So, due to the space constraint, because we are doing a lot of things, there are sub options, and I'll not go in detail of these, but this will probably cover all sorts of formatting you'll ever need. This also has links to your stock images powered by Unsplash. You can embed links, you can embed YouTube videos, and then when you export the whole thing as an HTML, it's a ready-made, ready to publish blog post. You just have to do minor edits. This is the heart and soul of the screen. This is the AI toolbar. We recently upgraded a lot of features in this AI settings. I'll quickly go through them because these are super important, and you play around with these to change the type of content you are getting, right? So output length, short, medium, long. Let me set it to long for now, and then I'll probably change it back to medium. Creativity, I'll keep it medium for now. I don't want to make the AI just leave the topic right away, right, and just go super creative, but I'll keep it creative. Context, I can guide the AI. I have the power to AI that additional to benefits of fasting, and if there's anything specific, specific flavor I want to talk about, so I can do that. For example, talk about weight loss. Right. I can include some specific keywords, and I'll come to this section, prioritize NLP terms, a bit later. Let me cover these here, and then I'll come back to these, right? So let me just update them. What all do we have here? We have got a write button. We'll use this. We have an instruct button which follows your instructions to the AI. So whatever instruction you want to give to AI, this is very different, and I'll use both of them. In fact, I'll start my blog with this instruct only. Then I'll talk about connectors and operators. These are just guidance to the AI on what all do you want for AI to give outputs on. This is an interesting bit. Let's try to use this as well. And SERP ideas, I'll go more in detail. And this thing is very helpful. What template does is it gives you a shortcut to all your short form use cases. Most of them are very relevant here, and we'll use some of them while creating content, right? And very quickly, it gives you real-time score on the bottom, and then there are few easy operations on the left hand side. So let's start creating the content. And typically, what you can do is you can either insert the content brief directly here. It just comes in, it just appears. It will have all your headings. So for this heading, remember I just added a note, so it will come here. It's an easy mark. Like whenever I create content, I know that okay, I want to talk about intermittent fasting for sure. Risks. This is an H1 tag. I can change this. These are the further headings. The benefits I want to talk about. The questions and other things also. So let me just start with, as I mentioned, what I would do. So there are two ways to start. I use both of them, interchange them, depends on the topic, and sometimes one works, sometimes others. For example, let me use the instruct one first. It's an interesting one, right? And cool. So let's use instruct here and see what happens. Now this is different from write. What write does is that it just reads the context and starts writing ahead, right? What instruct does is that it understands the command you have given to the AI, right? And starts writing for it. So this one was a bit small. Let's try to extend this. But yeah, what this is going to do is, so as I said, sometimes it would work for your particular content piece, sometimes it wouldn't. For example, this one directly jumped onto the benefits, right? The other option I might want to try out is, let it finish. Yeah, so it's giving the structure, right? Cool. So I particularly didn't like this approach because it directly jumped onto the benefits, right? I want to give it some structure, right? So Instead, what I can probably do is I'll go to templates. I'll go to the introduction paragraph, and I just say benefits of fasting. Let's see what this one does. Yeah, so the world has come a long way since ancient times when people fasted on religious occasions and observances. So there are many different forms of fasting, from fasting to Lent to intermittent. It starts talking about intermittent fasting or going vegan. Fasting and vegan effective. So yeah, I I'll mark it here, but I'll probably generate more. I'm marking this because it's an easy reference when I have like lots of them. This one's also nice, whether it is for health, spiritual growth, or just plain fun. There are countless benefits of fasting. But yeah, maybe I'll just use this. What I can do is I can just click this button, and this whole paragraph starts coming into the editor. Right. Now I want to extend on it. I'll probably write ahead. This one's nice. This one's really nice. So it's directly trying to, bring in credited resources. The important thing here to note is, use this AI writer from a creativity perspective, right? Now, what this has done is it has given you an idea that why don't you, to build in a strong validation, find a quote from somebody. So it's guiding you, right? This might not be a relevant, true quotation, but yeah, what you get to know is that, okay, hey, if you put a validation right on the top, it just makes somebody interested that there is some famous doctor in the field who's talking about fasting, right? So it just gives you an idea. So use it very cautiously, right? And don't use this for specifically. It tends to cook up facts. It tends to cook up quotations. But the idea is that use it as a reference point for creativity, right? So what I would rather do is I'll use this space to actually find the real quotation and replace it here, right? Anyways, let's move it. Let's just remove this headings, and so I want to talk about intermittent fasting. Okay, yeah.
So we might be running a little short of time. So
yeah. So what I'll do is let me take the next some time to just explain all the tools. What I'll do is I'll try to talk about most of the tools and just see. Like I'll take 5 minutes and cover most of them. Okay. Right. So one of the other features here is a blinder, right? So what I can do is I can put a blinder here. What it will do is it will just read this sentence and it will try to write ahead, right? So let's try. Yeah. So again, this was a much asked for feature because lot of times you want it to be on point, and the AI tries to repeat the elements from the content above. So you want the AI to keep it on point and just focus on a particular point, right? What are the other things we have got? And I wanted to very quickly cover all of those. So what I would rather do is, as a process, I'll just go on and create content for all of these subtopics. My favorite options, so let's say I want to use SERP ideas. So let's say I want to do it for benefits of fasting for 16 hours. And I want to create a section, like I want to create these 3 sections, right? So I want to capture details. And now these are the real details coming out from SERP. And at times, this gives you really, really good ideas. Let me see. So weight loss and fat loss. So it talks about 16-hour fasting in general, right? And what you can do is you can find ideas around this. And so yeah, one of the things which a lot of AI tools are not able to capture is that most of the AI tech has been trained on data till 2019. SERP ideas sort of, builds on top of that concern. For example, this one is a real data, right? So according to 2021 report, and then there's a report in 2021. This takes data real time from the SERP and uses AI tech to build and give you 10 odd suggestions right away. So you can use any one of these and then create content around this, and it will just, put directly into your editor. So that's one. The other things which are really important and can always be used are the different templates. How much time do I have, Mayank?
I think
I'm already over time.
But that's fine. I mean, let's cover the important things, because SERP ideas was definitely one basically fact check. I think somebody also asked about workflow, which you have anyway covered, and the best practices how to create a killer content.
So this one again is one of the most used templates when you're creating long form content, right? Heading to paragraph. So for example, on benefits of fasting, fasting helps maintain blood sugar levels, for example. This, and I want to write about this point specifically, right? So I want to write, about this point in general. So what it will do is it will start creating content here. And what I do is I create 5 or 6 different ideas for these paragraphs and try to merge all of them. For example, fasting reduces insulin levels and increases sensitivity. This reduces the risk of developing type 2 diabetes. And you get like really good ideas to cover and, put it in your section. So this heading to paragraph is another important template which you can use while creating long form articles. And then, NLP terms. I'll like take the last few minutes talking about what you can do with these tabs, right? When you're creating content. So the best way to use these NLP terms is, and you see while creating this content itself, you started capturing the most relevant ones. But then there are few which have still not been covered, right? So for example, what I'll do is I'll just look at the NLP terms which have still not been used in my article. For example, calorie intake, right? What I can do here is I can either check how are other articles using calorie intake, right? Limiting calorie intake for, again, it talks about insulin and all those things, right? I can glance through and I can get ideas, or I can try creating some content which possibly will try and cover calorie intake in the content piece. The calorie intake in lab studies has shown that it is. What it does is that it gives you ideas. So this thing was a recent edition. We did it a few weeks back, and now this is gone because we are on an unused one. So this disappears. So calorie intake is now used, and content grade has magically gone up from E to D because you used a few more. There would be few more NLP terms you would have used. Similarly, in competition, you can expand on any heading, and for example, I want to write more about something related to this, right? This heading. I can just click on this. It will try to understand, it will try to read the content on this competitor, and it will try to, relate it to the content present in this article, and then create a plagiarism-free content for this heading on your editor for this. And you can try it multiple times. What is present in that article is present here, right? You can expand it and see. And finally, the questions tab, again, and I mentioned this when I was talking about the outline in the report section, that what I do is I don't add them in outlines. I directly, if I like, for example, how can I make it easier to fast for longer periods of time? I would just click this and I would add a FAQ section at the end. And as Gaurav also mentioned, that, we should include lots of questions. So how can I make it easier? So see, it started to write the answer. So it includes the question. I'll do the formatting, just name it FAQ section, put it in some formatted part, the question, and then the answer. Yeah. And this gives very relevant answers. So you can directly use these to answer the questions in the end. Yeah. So while there are lots of other things I want to talk about, share and all those things, and like other ways you can use AI connectors and operators, but that's the high overview of the workflow, how you should be creating the content. You should create and expand content, for all these subsections, and that's it. That's pretty much it.
Perfect, wonderful.